Alright guys, so if you guys clicked on this video, you guys are probably an Amazon driver, or you work at the Amazon warehouse, or you do Uber, you do Lyft, you do all these side hustles, and you're probably looking for a way to make more money. Or even if you're not even working a job and you might be unemployed and you're just like, you know what, let me just learn how to sell on Amazon. That's the reason I made this video. I feel like there's so many mistakes that I made when I first started, and there's so many misinformation that I kind of got from online, going on YouTube sometimes, or even going on TikTok or on Instagram, and I was just assuming selling on Amazon was one specific way. But this is what they don't tell you about starting Amazon FBA. All right, but I was supposed to film this video earlier, like right after I was done eating lunch. Now it's already like, I think it's like, yeah, it's about to be 5 p.m. so I'm low-key starving. So we're gonna go grab some food at Din Tai Fung. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of Din Tai Fung, but it's low-key fire, but we'll see. Hopefully they don't get me in trouble for recording a freaking YouTube video on there. But honestly, I'm just yapping at this point because I'm just starving. I'm just starving. Alright guys, so we finally made it to the table. We were waiting for like 20 minutes, but they finally sat us down and now we're gonna eat. We're waiting on the food, we already ordered, but yeah, going back to the main topic that I was talking about, Amazon is a little bit different compared to all these other platforms like eBay or like Walmart or, you know, OfferUp, Goat, StockX. There's so many platforms on there that, you know, kind of pay you out much faster. Like they'll pay you the full amount right away. But with Amazon, it's completely different. You actually have to wait a certain amount of time until Amazon actually is able to disperse your full payment. So they don't actually pay you the full amount right away. For example, like let's say you make $1,000 your first month selling on Amazon. They will probably only pay you realistically $200. So like they only give you a small amount of that $1,000, and the rest of the $800 that they owe you, they'll actually not pay it until they know for sure that you're not going to get any returns or get any, you know, any bad reviews. And the reason they do that is because they want to make sure that their customers don't get scammed, and they just basically want to protect the customers. So that's kind of one of the biggest things that I didn't really understand when I first started. So when I got my first payout, I was kind of freaking out. Not gonna lie, I was freaking out just because I didn't see the full money come into my bank account. Alright guys, so we got our food by the way, so I'm excited to eat. But next thing I want to talk about is basically just how the whole arbitrage method works, because that's basically what I do. I buy products and I send them to the warehouse. I buy brand name products, so I don't actually do wholesale, or I don't do private label. I don't create my own brand. But obviously, you know, it's definitely the easiest way to get started. You don't need a lot of money to start, so that's another big misconception that I kind of assumed you needed, like, you know, 5-10K to start. And yeah, you could actually just pull up to stores like, you know, Target, Ross, Marshalls. When I first started, Ross, TJ Maxx, and what was the other one? Marshalls were the main ones that I actually went to. So I would just go in there, scan products with Seller App, and then that's how I would, you know, figure out if they were good or not. Nowadays, since Amazon is kind of strict with a lot of beginners to get ungated, I usually recommend that you do online arbitrage. Online arbitrage is the same thing as retail arbitrage, but it's basically just finding products online. In terms of how to find products online, that's one of the biggest things that a lot of beginners have issues with, is learning how to find products. So that's definitely another thing that I kind of was, you know, not really ready for. With a couple of reps, you definitely get the hang of it, but it's honestly not that hard. I'd say within 1 month of actually like learning and taking your time, I'd say minimum 1 to 2 hours a day, just learning, getting on YouTube or trying to look for products yourself, you could definitely get to the point where you kind of master it. You kind of already know how to find products. So that is kind of a learning curve. But when you want to do retail arbitrage or wholesale or whatever, you know, sell brand name products, you do have to get approved to sell them. That is definitely the hardest part for beginners, and that's something that, you know, a lot of beginners have issues with. They don't really know how to get approved, or if they do get approved, you know, they still don't know how to find products. So it's like a whole system that, you know, you kind of have to take it step by step. So I would say definitely learn how to get ungated and learn how to find products. Those are the hardest things to kind of, you know, get your whole Amazon journey started. But I'm not trying to scare you guys. I'm just trying to give you guys a heads up to kind of know what you're, you know, expecting when you do begin to sell on Amazon, or when you do begin to go out there and look for products. This is what we got for food, by the way. We got some ribs, we got some wontons, I don't even know what this is, and we got some noodles, We got some cucumber, and we got some pork chops, I believe. So yeah, we're gonna eat real quick, and then I will go back and talk some more. I'm starving. All right, guys, so we finished that food. But another thing that I feel like a lot of people have issues with, or not issues with, but they kind of catches them off guard, is learning how to use the softwares. But if you don't know how to use the softwares, you're already going to be behind. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to know if something is profitable. You're not going to know if something is even able to be sold in the first place. So having softwares is 100%, you need it. And I feel like that's something that I was like, in the beginning, I was like, you know, I don't really need these softwares. I could kind of just use the Amazon app by itself. But you cannot just do the Amazon app by itself. You actually do need the softwares. And another thing too would probably be the supplies. I feel like for supplies, it's very important to like know what specific supplies are the ones that you need. So for example, a lot of people don't really know how to use the labels. So like the 2x1 labels, the 4x6 labels, they get very confused with which labels they should use. And I feel like, you know, if you don't know how to use the labels, or if you don't know how to print out labels, even printing stuff out, like that's another thing that a lot of people have issues with. They don't even know how to print something out. So definitely, you know, learning how to print something out, having a thermal printer, all that stuff, that all comes in handy. So yeah, that's something that kind of did catch me off guard, because when I first started out, I ended up buying a very expensive printer, like a thermal printer. It was a Rollo, and it cost me like $300, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna buy this expensive printer and I'm gonna be good to go. I didn't even know how to use it, to be honest. Like, I just returned it because I didn't really know how to print stuff out using that printer. So I had to get a cheaper printer, and then the cheaper printer that cost me like $80, that's the one that I ended up using, and I still use to this day. So yeah, you don't have to really go too crazy on supplies, but it definitely is going to be needed for sure. But yeah, if you guys ever do need any supplies, that's all in my bio, in my YouTube bio, TikTok bio, Instagram bio. I have all the supplies needed in my Amazon storefront, and I also have all the softwares needed in my bios as well. So go check those out, guys. Go check those out. So we had two younger guys who saw me recording. They're like, hey, what's your YouTube page? And they subscribed. So if two strangers were able to subscribe to my YouTube channel, if you're watching this video right now, come on, just subscribe. That's all. That's literally all I ask for. But yeah, guys, that's about it. If you guys could go subscribe, I would highly appreciate it. And by the way, every single time that I do a YouTube video, I always do a giveaway. If you're watching this right now and you're from TikTok, if you're from Instagram, you guys already know that I always do a YouTube giveaway. So all you guys need to do is go subscribe and go comment and like this video right here that you guys are watching, and I'll put you guys in the giveaway. I always do a giveaway. So go subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.